Hey guys, Casey and Josh Lefevre from Next Day Koi here, and today we want to talk to you about bowling and inspecting your koi. Now, a lot of people might be a little nervous and timid about bowling and inspecting their koi. Handling the koi is not something that a lot of people are used to, but with a little bit of practice it can be very easy, and it's a very important part of keeping your koi happy and healthy. So the purpose of bowling your koi is to examine them for health issues that might not be apparent when they're swimming around in the pond. You can have certain things like ulcers, which might manifest themselves on the bottom of the body, or fin rot on some of the fins that are underneath the body, which would not be readily visible when your fish is swimming around in the pond and you're looking at it from above. You can also have other issues like lice and anchor worms that are visible to the naked eye but can only be seen when you're looking up close, and so you need to have the fish in your hands looking at it up close in order to see these problems. Now, most hobbyists will bowl their koi and examine them twice per year, once in the spring when they're just opening the pond up, and then once in the late fall or early winter when they're shutting the pond down and winterizing it for the winter. So let's take a look at the materials that you need for bowling and examining. So a few things you might need for bowling your koi. One thing that you definitely want to have is a dip net. For the size of koi we're going to be bowling today, this dip net is a perfect size. But for larger fish you might want to have a longer dip net that might have a longer handle and larger surface area for handling larger koi. But for today, this dip net should do the trick. One other thing we have is a sock net, which is a little bit longer net with a large opening at the beginning of it, and then an opening at the other end for it to basically swim through. And then one other thing that we're going to use to look at the koi is the bowl itself. We're going to use a blue bowl, which is pretty much the most common color that people usually look at for koi, but you can use any color that you want to. Some other optional things that you might want to use is a microscope if you want to scrape and scope some samples of your koi, and also a digital camera if you might want to take pictures of the progression of your koi and keep an eye on how it develops. Now once you're ready to go and you have your dip net, you want to move very calmly and slowly. You don't want to jab at the fish or make any quick movements, as that might excite the fish and make it more difficult to capture. So you want to move the net sideways through the water to reduce drag. If you can, try to come up underneath the fish. Koi have trouble looking downward, so if you're able to come up from underneath, then the fish might not see the net coming at them, and so are less likely to be startled and to swim away quickly. So we're going to get this guy into the net. And now, once you have it netted, you have two different options for getting it from the net into the bowl. If you're able to float your bowl inside your tank or your pond, your best bet might be to tip the bowl down so that the lip of the bowl is underneath the water, and then kind of try to swim the fish into the bowl, lift the bowl back up above the water, and then there you go. So let's say that you're not able to get your bowl into the tank or the pond, your bowl's outside, on your patio or on a table or something somewhere, then your best bet is probably going to be to use the sock net to transfer the fish from the dip net into the bowl. So with the sock net, you want to kind of swim the fish into the opening. You want to make sure that it always goes in head first. And then with the loose end of the net clamped, you want to lift the fish up out of the water, place it into the bowl, release the loose end, and then allow the fish to swim out of the loose end of the sock net. Okay, so once you have it bowled and you're ready to examine, you want to take the fish with the head in one hand and then just behind the caudal fin in front of the tail in the other hand. You want to always have the fish facing towards you. You don't want to have it facing away from you. The reason for that is if you're holding the fish like this and it's able to squirm out of your hands, then it's going onto the ground. If you're holding it towards you like this and it squirms out of your hands, it's going to go towards you, and you're going to have a lot better chance of catching it and keeping from dropping it on the ground. So you want the head in one hand and just behind the caudal fin and the tail in the other hand. the nose in your palm, and try to get the pectoral fins in between your thumb and pointer finger, and I have the other pectoral fin in between my middle finger and ring finger. So you want to be looking at the fish on the side for any swelling or redness or missing scales or anything out of the ordinary. You want to be looking at the tail for any signs of lice or anchor worms. And then after you've looked at the top and the sides of the fish, then you can flip it over and look at the bottom. So once you have a firm grip on it, but definitely not too tight, then just roll it over in your hands, and we can take a look and see that this guy is perfectly healthy. No ulcers, no fin rot, no lesions, nothing to speak of underneath. Now, once you're done examining the fish, you have two options for getting it back into your tank or pond. If you have your bowl inside of the tank or pond, then just like when you were bringing the fish into the bowl, then you can tilt the lip of the bowl down below the water, let the fish swim back out into your tank or pond. Or if you have your bowl out on the ground or on the patio or something, then you can also use the sock net to catch the fish, transfer it back into your tank or pond. So remember, whenever you're bowling and examining your koi, it's really important to stay calm, take your time, don't get too excited, don't make any fast movements because that'll excite the fish and make it more difficult. It's a little bit of a difficult thing to do when you first start out, but with just a little bit of practice, then you'll get very comfortable with it and very good at it very quickly, and it'll actually be a treat to get your fish into the bowl, look at them up close, see them in a way that you don't typically see them, and develop more of a relationship with your koi. I'm Casey Lefevre.
And I'm Josh Lefevre,
Co-owners of Next Day Koi, and thanks for watching our video on bowling and examining your koi.